All right, hi everyone. This is a continuation on the male cardinal. And on this particular part of it, I removed the paint that was here. I was not happy with it. So the line drawing, as you can see here now, I'll just zoom in a little bit. Okay, that's been redrawn on top of the clean area. So what I did is I put gold tape over the whole image. You can see through it. I cut out around the painted area and protected the background and the body of the Cardinal. Okay, so it's clayboard, so I was able to use Windex and get that completely off there to get a fresh start. The reason why, again, the details, look at the black and white, the details of the line work were not as exact as I wanted them. So I was trying to get it closer to the photograph. Somehow the drawing got, even though this was originally traced down, you can still lose your drawing, you know, with just many lines and just not, you know, when you go to remove this and you've got your graphite paper, it's still got a mess under here in tight areas like that. You know, this is simple shape here. The bird shape is simple, so it's like, that's not hard, you know. But when you start having a lot of things going on, then it can get a little crazy. I like to use the small reference when I do my videos so that you guys can see something, because the big picture sometimes can block too much of the picture, the painting, I should say. So I'm using Createx illustration colors. I'm making some opaque mixtures. And all I'm going to demonstrate right now is how I'm going to go about trying to bring in the wings little by little. So let me just readjust this, get that aim in there. I'm just going to focus on this area right now. I have a choice. I have three choices. I could take and cut out each section and shave them away, like use that piece first, line it up, spray off of it, and the next one and the next one, and put the shades in between. So I could use the real stencil. It will line up, you know, if I find the placement. But I choose not to do it that way. Another way would be to use the big shield because of the curves. The amount of curves on the big shield is very, you know, large compared to, say, a French curve that might cut off sooner than I need it. As far as the curve, to find it might not go far enough down here. So like if I am going to use this one, I could come right in here and I have enough material going right to where the line is. But I'm going to try, I might do both, I don't know. I'm going to try the fine line tape, all right? So the fine line tape is for exactly that. You can bend it, you can make it go where you want it to. This is a slight curve, so you don't really have to worry about too much of, I probably wasted a little bit of this just now. All right, so I'm going for the first little section right there. I'm walking it right here, and I'm going to try to stay on that line and then bend it right there. Okay, so that would be, excuse me, would be where I am going to put my little bit of color. And I do see that it does go a little more like that with the opening. Now I want to make sure, yeah, it's pretty thin in here. So actually I'll go back over, and I just don't want it to go to a point. So that little opening, I pre-mixed a mixture of opaque red, which I will use for kind of sculpting in and shading in, and then fire in the fiery colors later. That would be all to do with this guy. So being that you want to see the wing, let me get the bigger bird, and I could put that up there. I'm just going in this area for right now, right? The outer area has already got the dark color on there. I mean, I could protect it if I want to, for the sake of argument, just to be neat and not have an edge. I could try that. I don't want to get too far beyond that shadow. So I could put that there, but in reality, you know, I've got, so let me unzoom it a little bit. There we go. All right. So let's just put a little color right on here. Or we're down here, I'm not up here, I'm sorry. All right, so I'm just gonna put in a little bit of the color. Not worried about going on to the brown so much. And it's gonna be sprayed lightly till I see where, establish it, you might say. Okay, so let's get that fired in. I can look at the second coating of it. That's pretty good because this one is browner red, more brown, but I have to put the base in and then I could put more brown into the color later. So right now that red is probably a little brighter than I want than this red. Okay, the bottom little section right there is this. It's the same family of red, but you play around with mixtures of burnt umbers and greens and different things to deepen it and stuff. So we have that established, but there is a shadow there that starts probably, I'm going to try to use this again. Let me see if I can. The shadows are tricky because the wing is so big. Let me go on to the red a little more. The pattern is big. So let me just take, I'm going to put the color on, the whole color. I'm not going to worry about the other. I freehand it kind of. Turn the air down with the Mac valve. Custom Micron SB. Okay, so it's the, before they changed it to the Takumi, Wada's new version. I think I'm saying that right. If not, then I didn't say it right. But anyway, I sure wouldn't mind having one of them. So I could kind of get this, even let it fall onto other areas. Okay, but when I get close to the line, right there, there's my base color. Okay, I know I'm staying safe as far as, I know if I spray the red more, more on top of the same red, it will start to look correct as far as, percentage of how much I'm spraying out more air. See, right here, a little bit too much air. Even though I'm going on to the other one, it's okay. I'm going to get it visually. That's pretty lit up, that one there. So I'll just get it to where I like it. And again, it's removing it, it's looking at it. So I did use the same piece twice. It started to lift up a little bit of the paint, so I have to be careful there. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do at this point, now that I see 1, 2, 3 sections painted, okay, so let's zoom in. I'm going to get that right there. Sorry, guys, getting dizzy, right? So it's not going to be a long video because it's going to be rinse and repeat, right? So I'm going to I make a decision with this as I go. And because I'm treating the opaque mixture like a transparent, I can dust in the colors. But knowing that some of them are lighter, for example, right here, different color actually, it's a lighter version, but it's more grayed out. Then I want to put that in, and they're very nice little freehand shadows that I have to kind of possibly do. I can see it's freehand. It's fuzzy on both sides, so I might have to freehand that. That means it's going to be like rolly looking, and I don't want a sharp taped off area, so I probably will have to really go in and carefully put in a shadow in there. So let's take, for example, one more area. I see a strong shadow right here. And it's brown. It's going to be another color, but I can put it in. It's right here, and it goes right along there. I'm off a little bit, so I'll adjust it. You can wiggle this by pinning it down at a starting point. You can walk it onto the curve, and I want to go right there. Okay, so that's slight curve. It's ever so slight. You could almost think it's straight there, but just for the sake of argument, even though it's going to be a softer edge, I'm going to use two pieces, and I'm going to darken in. This is a shadowed area. It's a big area that's shadowed. So I'll go like here. That looks about right, maybe a little wider. Even my drawing now is not totally, because I removed some of the lead, the graphite, with the kneaded eraser, so I could keep it not too, not too graphite-y and smeary. But that's a very dark area. So for example, this area is a darker, all the way in here, it's darker. This will get covered because it's opaque. And the wing to stop at is there, the stopping point. So I'm going to take the red I have, and I'm kind of like making colors on the painting itself too. Playing around with the same color until I get it to where it's a darker version of itself, but it's starting to get saturated now. That means a really bright red kind of look, and this is not a bright red. This is a browner red. So right now I'll just do that, go over it. I'm not going to take the whole piece off. I'm going to, remember, I'm working for a shadow here, and that's probably good. I could probably go, I'm just going to look at this now. Let's see. There's the starting point. Yeah, it's a little wider. So I'm going to go up to that line right there. The line that I should have went up to originally. Okay. There. That gives us more room for that shadow. Okay, so I'll just do the same color over it. Carefully not trying to go everywhere, right? It'll all catch up with itself because it's opaque, especially if I do it over and over till it's 100%. Now it's way too saturated, but compared to the others, I've established a shadow area. Okay, it's not the right color yet, but who knows until I put some other colors in here. So what I'll do is I'll take this down. I don't mean to confuse you when I say that, but it's starting to look right. So how much brown I need in there, or to mix up a mixture on the side, I can cover it. So right now I'm going to dust in a little bit more right next to it of a tinting of this other color right there on both sides, just like that. That's a dark shadow area, and I'm going to put the small picture up so you can kind of see it, hopefully. I got to put it up. Well, let me see if I can bring this over a little bit more. Yeah, it's going to block. I'll put the small picture up, but I have to find a place where it won't get in the way and you can still see it. So maybe I'll angle it just so you can at least see it. I need a little piece of tape to keep it on the clay board. All right, so it's tilted differently, but the thing is, it's at least showing you. Look at going in and out of focus when I touch that. Okay, so now these get browner. They get like a, let me get some of that color out of there. And again, if I take the so-called darker mixture and spray it lightly, it might not be the exact mixture yet because I didn't nail it, but it can be a browner color that can be adjusted later. And I do have a brown going in here, right in here. These kind of go to a fade out of some kind of brown. So I'll just put it's another color, but it might still be, it might still have a lot of red in the gun. There we go. Still had red in the gun. I want to just put it on light so I can erase. Now, did it go brown enough? I'm not sure. Hold on a second. Yeah, a little bit. See? It's another, it looks orangey to me looking through the monitor, you know, the video. But as I take, say, a transparent, let's put that back on there. I'm going to take a transparent burnt umber. I'm going to get the color out of the gun. The little cleaning station. I love this thing. Awada's cleaning station. That you can just keep the fumes down, get rid of your next color. It's like a glass jar. It really keeps the paint smell out of the room. I mean, I put a fan on overhead later, and I open the window. That's my ventilation. When I had my studio in the store, which is no longer here, it had ventilations, fans pulling paint down, and we would have 6 stations. I've showed and shared pictures of my old ventilation desk, but that was 8 foot long. And right now it's a home studio, and I'm trying to just take care of, mainly it was the t-shirt paint that used to get me. You know, you were demonstrating as a teacher, you're talking, and lo and behold, you're swallowing paint while you're teaching and no mask on, you know. So let me just put a little bit of brown on top of that red, just a little bit. Still coming out. Might have to use some sepia. I don't want to get too dark there, no matter what, even if it's not the right color. It is browner. Okay, so it's definitely separating everything and helping me go to the next place. So let me get this off here. And let me get this back where you can see it better. Let's see, what do we got? Zoom out a little bit. Yeah. And sometimes you paint your photographs, right? By accident. So with the clay board, I can't do my erasing or it starts to chop up. Here's a good example. Excuse me, a good example. Right here, I started to erase when it was still the day one with this color. Day one meaning the window of time when Createx designed their paint to have a certain amount of hours or an hour. I'm not sure. It doesn't matter on the clay board anyway. It just needs for clay board to sit overnight or hours, you know, like then go back to the painting and I can erase and take the eraser and treat it without having any burnished marks or chopped up areas. It can behave like that, soft. That yellow was underneath the red, the original color. And I just raced it out a little bit, but it was dry and it was on the clay board. You can see the eye has that nice little blue going through it. So little tiny details. So let me just put a dusting in because everything starts to change on the big one. So let's see, we'll get the big one. I'd like you to see what you could see with the big one. So I'm just gonna dust in probably to about here. Freehand it, keep it, that's the browner color, but it goes browner there anyway, so it works out. And this browner color will come up on here. I'll just tint it lightly. And then I'll play with reds and, I'm out of the color. I'll play with some red and I'll play with some, in the erasing stage, browns, where I can pop some highlights out and stuff. So right now I'm just tinting. So you might say, you're using an opaque paint, but you're just tinting. It's because I'm spraying it lightly and it acts like a, you know, transparent right away because you're not going to do this. Here's what this color really looks like. Keep spraying, right? There, a little bit. And I could get darker and darker. I mean, that's dark, right? But if I spray it light, you know, I could find my way tinting through this as I go. So now I can take the freehand shield. Remember, the tape is starting to rip up the paint the first day, not the second day. It wouldn't. Again, clay board, not not the other type of materials that people are using, synthetic papers and things like that, clayboard. So right here, I'm just spraying mostly on the shield, starting to create an edge, lifting that up. The pencil lines will disappear as I go. See, they'll start to look like pencil lines, but done with the paint. Now I can't erase that pencil line. It's covered. So let's see here. Don't want to go too ahead of myself. There's a little bit of shifting here going on because of the overspray, meaning it starts to go to not to the color it should be, so I'll just have to be careful there. All right, so I'd like to try to show you the erasing technique. It might work with the Tombow, which is a very soft eraser. I know a little bit of erasing can be done because there is a window of time when that can be removed easily, and that's the Createx paint. But because the clayboard is a different surface, okay, then I want it to bite on there and be like part of the clayboard. And because it's not yet, I still, now this is a lighter area, so I could go real lightly with the soft eraser and see how it behaves. Okay, the soft eraser shouldn't tear it to pieces. Okay, and I'm getting it a little lighter right here by pressing harder. Okay, so there's a little example of popping out areas like that. That will come back and be lighter, darker. There's different versions. Even some of this gets lighter down here, and it might be too soon for it. It is erasing a little bit because I'm using the Tombow. But if I go in there with an aggressive eraser, forget it. So I can start to see the different values. I'm sorry, that should be a little lower there. I could see I was erasing right here on this piece right here. It started taking out some. Where else? I'm going to look at that. Okay, right here, there's the dark one. I think this guy here is going to be a lighter version of itself. So I could just spray that in later with the, the lighter tint, but try to remove, again, this is the Tombow. It's not doing much, but it is taking it off though. It is behaving, but there's a point where it won't, because it's not tomorrow, if you were watching the video from the beginning. Meaning it has to bite onto this, the tooth, the drying, whatever happens with the paints, it's got to bite in and, become more of the tooth on it. Just, I don't even know how to explain it. So that's dark, light, but I'm starting to see a pattern here that will work because I can still see my pencil lines. Okay, so we'll get right around there. I'm not losing anything there. Now these feathers back here, they go into a whole nother coloring. Okay, so even if I sprayed this color tomorrow that I mix up and I spray a little too far, I can erase down to the board and leave that white showing. But it will act, the eraser, even an eraser like, I like to use this one here. This eraser is the same thing as the Tombow, but it's stronger and it's got a little more, it won't wiggle and everything. And so I could go in there and I could remove that paint right there. I could come in here and sweep through and lighten the tops of them and still have them behave like, I want it to be, but I'll do it tomorrow. I won't get so much going on there that eats away. Like this, I almost could say this is damage, this area, which would be right out there, that area. That's a little damage right here. Okay, so again, let me pull out. All right, so what's going on here is going to be the same thing I just did. So you can almost say, if I had a brown color pencil, I'll use this for now, and I started to refine this shadow right here. I am using the HB. H stands for hard lead, graphite, and the B stands for black. So it's a combination of the two pencils, like a 2B, 2B or 8B, and then 2H, hard. It's like a mixture. It's a school pencil. It can get very dark. But so this is going to be a dark area, and it's going to curve right there. So I can draw still on my painting. I could even take a color pencil. You got to be careful because you're not going to get an airbrush edge. But at least I'm finding the sharpness of the wings by spraying the color over. Because remember, that's a little blurry. So when I'm not on the video, I'm going to go in and really carefully do a freehand one that will kind of be soft on both sides. Pay attention to the edges. So these are the wings here. Again, this pencil would be recommended. Probably a 2H. 4H is a bit too light. And define my actual line again and not have it be too dark. I can go like that. All right, so slowly but surely, I will get through. This is the lighter lead. I will find that. Because as I'm spraying, I'm starting to lose it too. I'm starting to lose my... Now that's not working. It's a little... because the paint's there. So I have to go to the softer graphite and find that wing right there in between them. And that will separate those. So that's just a little sample of what I'm going to do to continue on this wing. So we have, in the beginning of the video, the removal was Windex, protecting the body. Now, I didn't show you that. I actually did do a live version of it on YouTube, but somehow it came out sideways, so it was upside down or sideways, and I had to delete it. But I actually came on and did that for you. I removed all this paint. So just to explain real quick before we close, so it's the Windex and the squirt bottle, and I took my finger. Remember, everything was protected, so I couldn't damage. All right, so let's say right here, there's some paint right here. I didn't want that there. But it was really done, like that kind of thing. So we just take the Windex. It will kill the lines. Probably at this point, because it's a small area, I would use the Windex on a Q-tip. Again, can't do it on Bristol board, can't do it on things like that. This is clay board. And I could come in here and take that right out. It was a bit of a lot of work. That's kind of two words that don't go together. It was a lot of work because it was the more finished part of the bird. And it was thicker paint. So when I came in here, I used but I cleaned the whole area. And then I took a piece of 1000 sandpaper, the black sandpaper, and I had it all protected. And I could just sand and make that feel like the original clay board, which was very smooth, and get any swirls out that might have been in there. Sometimes when you take paint off, you might see swirls. Just take your 1000 sandpaper, protect your background, and just sand. I lost that video. It was a live feed for you guys, but, c'est la vie. That's just the way that went. I didn't want to leave it up sideways. It was ridiculous, But, so this is how I'm going to treat this birdie, okay? And I'm going to let this video be called right here. I'm not going to keep going, but... So, I just wanted you guys to see how I reworked the wings, and this is just going to be kind of like what I was just doing, but repeating. That shadow will be here too, the strong one. And then there'll be little lines in between that are thinner, as you can see in the real picture. So there's some big shadow areas. Let me point one more time with something that really will point to the area. So that would be that shadow is here. These colors change over here. But then I want to get back into the skinny guys like that one. And these start getting a little fatter shadows as they travel. So I'll do that off camera because it's tedious and the phone itself is right in front of my work. I try not to give you this kind of an angle, you know, with the phone way over here and then me coming in. That's why, you know, it causes this kind of a problem, but it gives you the best view as long as my hand doesn't block it. So I hope you guys enjoy watching the video, and I might be doing a little bit more of this one on a video tomorrow night on Facebook Live. That's my Facebook page, which is Bill Snegon. You don't have to friend request me. The spelling of my last name is Snegon. I think it's on my title of my page, Imagine Art School. No, Imagine Airbrush School by Bill Snegon. So the spelling's there. Just go on 7 o'clock Eastern time if you want and watch me do a Facebook Live. It might not be this painting. It might be my sunset painting I'm working on or something. All right. So thanks a lot, guys, for checking it out. And don't forget to, the more you like, if you do like the video, the more you like the videos and comment, the more YouTube picks up on it and sends out the video to more people. So, and if you're not subscribed, subscribe, because there'll be some uploading each week now. I'm going to try my best. This is about 2 weeks apart from the lightning storm, but now I'm getting more consistent with this. So I'm trying to give you more stuff. Okay. Have a good one. God bless you guys. And thanks for looking.